know I try to be a good man. I always give it my best. But truth be told, someday I want to go to the wild, wild west.
And now, live from our smokehouse studio, it's time for Real Estate Jerky. All your real estate questions answered by our provocatively lean expert hosts, Edward Ed Parcaut, MBA veteran and president of Lending for Living, and the refreshingly wise realtor Erin Custer, specializing in residential, commercial, and ag real estate at PMZ Real Estate. Mortgage and real estate wisdom stretching over 50 years. Plenty to chew on, starting now.
Good afternoon. It's great to be here. We've got Ride for Mom founder Bob Fours, along with my co-host Erin Custer in the studio. Hello, Bob.
How you doing, Ed?
Good. Hello, Erin.
Hey, Ed. How's it going?
It's great. It's great to be here.
It is.
Today we're talking about another community event and nonprofit that makes Modesto a great community to live in. It's Ride for Mom. I feel what a community has to offer is one of the key components when considering where to live and buy a home. We demystify the path to home ownership through this show, and that is one of the reasons Real Estate Jerky exists. Erin and I know that home ownership is a step for building personal wealth, which is one of the biggest benefits of living in the United States of America. Before we get into Ride for Mom, Erin, what is the best thing that happened to you this week?
Okay. So you guys know that I got to go and go down south with my daughter and take care of my brand new baby. But while I was there, it was great because all the seeds that I had planted, like you, we do a lot for our clients, came to fruition. I had clients call me and say, I'm ready to put my house on the market. I had clients call me and say, I'm ready to buy. I had clients call me and say, I want to refer to you. And then I had realtors call me and say, can I handle some of your open houses? So it was crazy. And I was able to put all those things into place, and we have all these contracts that you're working on, and I'm super excited. So that was the best thing that happened to me this week.
Wow.
Yeah, it was great.
So, Bob, we always ask this question. We're going to ask you next. If you want, I can go first.
You please do.
All right. So for me, we had a listener call me a few weeks ago. It's probably been 20 days ago, asking about purchasing, and he was really serious about it. You know, it's unusual to have a 26-year-old person so serious about buying a home and having all his documents ready to go. And so basically, I helped him through the process. Finally, so he got into contract. One of the things about using a local person versus online is we know the listing agents. We know them. We call them. We talk about our client, how good they are, what the reason, and how fast we can close. And they had it a 21-day close, and we closed in 17 days.
That's what you do.
I know, but that's just what's nice is helping people get into homes. First-time home buyers is amazing. You know, for a while there, I kind of lost that for a couple months. We've had some really tough months with, you know, some things that came through, and it was really nice to see that again and help people get in. So
It's
Bob,
a team effort.
What's the best thing? You can bring up Ride for Mom or whatever.
I spent last week on 2 separate occasions, took some time off work, and spent time with friends. First group of friends was up at Lake Tahoe at South Shore, and the second group of friends was at the Thunder Valley Casino.
And that was in Tahoe,
Did you
right?
win?
Well, that wasn't. No, I won $7, but that was on the nickel machine.
And you were there for like 13 hours, right?
I was there for a good 2.5 days. But the point being,
I'm talking about the nickel machine.
Well, yeah, long time on that. But the point being, I was with there with 2 friends of mine that I get together with once a year, and it's nice to catch up. Family is what we're doing professionally, and so it was a lot of fun.
Fill the tank and then re-energize yourself, right?
Yes, exactly.
So good job there.
Yep.
Ed and I were talking that we need to do that because we do a lot of work.
Do
right?
we?
Yeah, we
Yes.
do.
Yes,
we need to
we
take
do.
some time.
Yes, we do.
All right.
All right, so we asked me, and let's talk about your listings.
Okay. Today, we wanted to do something because we're doing Ride for Mom. So we wanted to find homes where you can bring your mom with you and she could have her own unit.
So, place for mom?
Yeah, a place for mom. Ride for Mom and a place for mom. So I have 5 really beautiful properties here. One is 1525 Parker Avenue in Tracy. And everybody knows that it's so hard to find anything in Tracy that's under $500,000 or $600,000. Well, this property has 2 units on it. It is gorgeous, large lot, and it is a low price. It's only at $519. So if you're interested in something like that in Tracy, give me a call. And then we found a gorgeous unit on 704 Stanford Avenue in Modesto. This is on Stanford. And this, if you bought this unit and brought your mom to it, in years to come, you could even maybe develop this area, because that's a very commercial street, and really realize some investment increase. So that has a pool and a large lot, and this could be a future investment. The third one that I have is 2050 West Wadman Avenue in Stockton. This is almost on 3/4 of an acre. So, and these look like little doll houses. They're adorable, and this is priced at $420 to be able to bring your mom. That is far cheaper than having her go off somewhere else where you can't take care of her. And then I have 1320 West Roseburg Avenue, Modesto. Ed knows that I love the older areas of town, and this is $295 for 2 units. This could have a little bit of fix-it, but hey, that's still fun to do for that price. And then my last one would be 1880 West Harding Way in Stockton. $267,000, and this has 2 units on it as well. So that's great on the first-time buyer program. So what do you have?
What do I have?
Talk about your amazing minute.
Amazing minutes. What's happening in the mortgage market? Basically, we'll talk a little about nationally, and basically the Feds have been talking about they're not going to raise short-term interest rates anymore this year, and then the real thing is about when are they going to start lowering them again. And for most people don't realize what the Fed does is they affect the prime rate, which is basically equity lines, credit cards, overnight rates to banks, that kind of stuff, anything that's tied to the prime rate. So it doesn't affect actual mortgage rates, but you can see a correlation between the two occasionally. We've had some major changes, though, in FHA and Fannie Mae. FHA has decided to get a little bit more stricter on their guidelines when it comes to debt-to-income ratios, and so you have to be really careful if you're going over a certain ratio number. And when I talk about debt-to-income ratio, I mean for every dollar you bring in, how many cents goes towards your mortgage and your other debt. In the past, we've been able to push that up to 55 cents, and now they're getting to where they're going to start looking at they don't want to see over 50%, and actually if you have a lower FICO score, you're going to have to go manual underwriting. It's going to be much difficult. So that means they're going to take out about 50,000 loans a year for people who are looking for a loan. And Fannie Mae's kind of done the same thing, lowering theirs where you could go up to 50. Now it's like anything over 45 is going to be really hard to do. And it's really hard to explain to people what that means until you sit down with somebody and explain it to them that way. So basically how that relates to them, pay off debt by now when interest rates are low, because that lowers your debt-to-income ratio.
Do you know, Ed, in our meeting today, not today, but this week, we were talking about, this is the first time I've ever seen this, but we have a buyer's market and a seller's market.
Right. Can I finish my minute?
Oh, I thought you were done.
I'm sorry.
You looked at me.
Because you looked at me. So basically, we mentioned about, these changes and did you talk about inventory today? You didn't yet, did you?
No.
Okay, well, I know it's going to be low. So what that means is you really need to be pre-approved when you go out looking for a home, because it's very difficult to get in there. And make sure you work with a local lender who can talk to the listing agent on the other side and that kind of stuff. So that's about it for now.
Okay. Do you want me to give the trends? We still have time?
Yeah, you got 2 minutes.
Okay. So in San Joaquin, there are 996 residential properties on the market. There's 579 in contract and 391 that have sold. In Stanislaus, there's 807 residential properties, 481 in contract, and 345 that are sold. And I'm really sorry that I interrupted you before, but you looked at me, so I thought it was an in. We were talking in our meeting.
You're not that sorry.
I am. We were talking in our meeting that for the first time I've ever seen a buyer's market on the lower priced or FHA realm of mortgage.
Well, actually, what you're talking about is that anything in the FHA realm, the dollar amount, that is a seller's market, and anything over FHA and above is a buyer's market.
So if a more expensive property, it turns out to be a buyer's market. So people are confused because they always look up, is it a buyer's market or seller's market? And we have them both right now.
Right, and just because it's so much easier to get approved through FHA.
Yes.
Right. Anything else you need to add to that?
No, that was it. Thank you for letting me do that.
No problem. And just want to bring up, one thing that's important about going to get a loan is making sure your budget's put into place. And next week, we're going to actually have someone on who can talk about budgeting. And that's going to be the whole show next week. And it's going to be really good.
Yes, I love that.
And then I think it is time to go out for a break.
Okay.
All right, time to pay some bills, and hear from our advertisers. Then when we be back, we'll be talking to founder of Ride for Mom, Bob Forrs, and we probably won't get him to shut up because he never stays quiet once he gets the mic. It's a great bicycle ride for everybody, and we'll talk to you when we get back. Remember, you can dial in at pound 250, say the keyword Real Estate Jerky, and you'll be connected. Again, to pound 250, say the key phrase Real Estate Jerky, and you can leave us your questions or comments anytime on Facebook, LinkedIn, anywhere we're out there. We're everywhere. So give us a call. Thanks. Talk to you when we get back.
See how easy that was? He only dissed you once. I got dissed about 4 times.
You didn't tell me you were going to ask me a question. I had no idea.
You're here to talk about Right from Mom. What's the problem?
No, what's best things happened to me last week? I don't know.
You said it. We're good. You were
did.
with friends.
I thought it was great.
It's better to be.
It's okay to take a break.
It's not a. You know everything about Right from Mom. So I gave you one question you didn't know.
I
When you
always
get
want to know the answer to a question before it's asked.
You're not your attorney. I understand that, but you never ask a question you don't know the answer to.
But
That's the difference.
Yeah. So I didn't understand your statistics from the standpoint. How many houses are on the market that are not in contract?
There's 897
Okay.
in one contract. Okay, so
So when you said 400 in contract, that wasn't part of the 897.
these are properties that are on the market for sale. These are the properties that sold, and right now we have this many that are in contract.
And what is, when you were talking about above the FHA threshold, what is that?
So it's different in each county. So in Stanislaus, it's a little bit less, but it's somewhere around the 300 and 400 range.
Okay.
So,
You need to take care of that cat place you bought up there.
hey Ed, you know I put on my timer and I.
All right, hey, we're gonna do 12
Let's
minutes.
go to sleep.
This
I know,
segment?
but I put my timer on and it actually rang even with the time with the
You have to
sound
put
on.
you have to put it to airplane mode.
Okay,
Then nobody can call through.
okay, and so it won't ring.
Correct.
My leg's going to sleep.
Thank you. I was wondering if he was leaving, and so I was worried. So let me get my
All right.
timer on. Hang on. Okay, so we're doing 12 minutes now?
Yes. So
Okay, so this works for me, thanks. That was good, good tip.
Real Estate Jerky is back on Power Talk 1360. Chew on that.
hey, we're back with Bob Fours and one of my personal friends and founder of Ride for Mom. So Bob, let's go to how did you come up with Ride for Mom? So you can go back as far as you need to go, why you did it, how come.
So do you
tell
have
our
enough-
listeners.
Do you have enough time for me?
We can cut you off anytime. I have control over the mic.
So the idea started when I was riding my bike after my mom passed away, which was 2005. And I come from a family of large people, and mom was very sick, and we all believed that if mom had taken better care of herself personally, that she may still be here. So anyway, I was in my late 40s, needed to do something athletic. I had a couple pals who didn't know each other who'd been encouraging me to ride my bike for years. So I started riding my bike. I took that bike out of the garage.
What kind of bike was it?
It was a production metal, very heavy mountain bike that had cobwebs on it, and I tried to clean it up. And in order to justify to my wife that I really did want to obtain a very nice bike and spend a little bit more money, I had to prove to her that I was going to do that. So I rode that bike for 6 months. And the last ride was a 50-mile
On a mountain bike?
on a mountain bike
That's
on the
tough.
road.
That's very tough.
Out of Fun Sports Bikes back in 2005, and I swore I was never going to ride a bike again until I got a road bike, which I did. So over the course of the months after that, and actually a couple of years, I started riding more on the road bike that I bought. I started riding organized rides, and I thought, I thoroughly enjoyed the East County rides, the roads out there, Roberts Ferry, Knights Ferry, Orange Blossom. I thought, I ought to do a ride for mom. And so I started checking out cancer organizations because mom died of cancer. This was the second time around, and I checked out American Cancer Society, Lance Armstrong, Susan G. Komen, and then I went out and reserved the domain name rideformom.com. And then I started thinking about it too much. We're all time impoverished. We all don't have enough time to get the good stuff done that we need to get done right now as it is. And there are a lot of good organizations out there that ask for money, and I knew I was going to probably have to do a little bit of that, asking for money, and I don't like doing that. So I said, I'm not going to do this. So I tabled it. And then about 4 years later, I was riding with you, Ed. Ed,
Told you he's going to blame me for this.
ultimately, this is all Ed's fault. So we were riding out on Wilms Road, I believe it was, between Knights Ferry and Roberts Ferry, and of course, Ed will tell the story completely different than I do. But so I told Ed what I just said, and he says, and I don't have time to put all that together because I knew what I wanted it to look like. I knew that I wanted to have a lifestyle fair, kind of like the old ride and run that was put on at the MJC, and something just to promote healthier lifestyle choices, but something that was affordable, something that was fun for family and friends before Mother's Day. So I tell this to Brother Ed, and Ed says, Bobby, you got to do this. Now, Ed will... I don't
think I've ever said Bobby. But
well, he did, and so he encouraged me, and I don't want to say the rest is history, but we're starting our this will be our 8th annual Ride for Mom, but through Ed's encouragement and then others like Ed who have been enthusiastic supporters of what we've put together, it's become a homegrown event. It's purely volunteer effort. Along the way, interesting to me, we never set out to raise money. We set out to have a fun, affordable, classy local event among family and friends. And, well, we were able to do better than that. We were able to make a few bucks, and people started asking, well, what are you doing with the money? Well, that wasn't part of the start. It was just to have what I just said, just a fun, affordable event. And so over... the last 7 years, we've given out in excess of $75,000 to local organizations who promote or who embody Be Active, Eat Healthy, Live Better, which is the Ride for Mom tag. And it's mostly children's organizations. This year, we're supporting the Boys and Girls Club, the Society for Disabilities, El Concilio, which is a great health fair south of town, Sierra Vista, which we're going to be contributing bikes and helmets to, the Tuolumne River Trust, which is special. They have a bike program for children in the airport district, a bike training, provide bikes and so forth, and then Teens Run Modesto. And but it's a very, very nice byproduct of what we initially set out to establish. So I'm not sure, Ed, if that answered your question. As you know, I can talk hours.
Yes, you can. I just remember when we were on this ride that one of your things that you were worried about is you wanted to have it, your mom was so huge to you, and you were worried about letting her down, right? And I remember asking you, you said, well, I don't want to let her down. I said, well, what does it look like? What does that mean, not letting her down? How many people did you need to have for that to happen? And you said 250 riders.
Something like that. That sounds right.
And how many did you have the first year?
We had 420, around 422, 425.
Right. So it was just getting you out of your way, basically. And I still think to this day, that's one of the issues with Ride for Mom is getting Bob out of the
way. That's been said, and
love you to death, but
I appreciate that. It's one of the few activities or events I've been involved in where every time I took a step forward, I was propelled too. I wasn't pushed back a step. It has been embraced enthusiastically. I was very concerned about if I'd be stepping on somebody's toes and trying to get this going. I was not an active member of the local bicycle community, and I didn't want to step on toes of existing events, people who have maybe been involved in other bicycle events locally, and none of that happened. And we're always striving to get better, and there are areas where we always need help. But again, it's been a tremendous amount of fun. We have an organizing committee that is all type A from all aspects of our local community, and everybody's got an opinion, and it's all positive. But it's a get it done. Make it happen. If there's an issue that comes up, somebody comes up with a solution to get it done. Given that it's all volunteer, it is a tremendous amount of man-hours. We have, last count, 10 or 11 different public entities that we have to obtain permits from. We have to have insurance. We have to have the routes planned out. There's all kinds of things that go into it. But it's really not, for me, a labor of love. It's more just love. It's a lot of fun. there are certain days where I will confess I wish I was getting paid for it. But
And so does your partner.
well, yeah, that's Mike will tell you that. But it's been very, very fulfilling, and along the way I've made really, really good friends. We have an organizing committee that each year ranges between 15 and 20 people who really get the work done, and I'm forever grateful to all of them because they roll up their sleeves and go out and do the various tasks that are involved in pulling this thing off.
Hey, Erin, I've never heard you so quiet. So did you have a
Because
question
I'm
for
in
him?
love with this. I do have a huge question.
Sure.
Okay. So, I'm 62. So, well,
You're
almost.
young.
Yeah. And I have
recorded
two.
that.
That's okay. I don't care. I have 2 bikes in my garage because I see people, they have on these special outfits. They're in special stripes and everything matches, and they have bottles stuck to their back. And I remember when I just had the basket on the front with, and I trailed down the street.
You like
How
that.
does somebody like me start? Because you
So-
started at 40, so you would know.
Right. So part of it
You
depends.
just start.
You start, and it depends on what your goals are. If, for instance, let's say you wanted to start off modestly, we have a 10-mile route that you can come down, and it starts typically around 10 o'clock on the day of the event. We have bike mechanics you can bring your bike down to for free, and they will look at your bike and make sure that it's in proper working mechanical order. It really doesn't matter what you wear. The more
I'm a girl. We care what we wear.
well, okay, but if you begin to graduate to some of the longer mileage routes, we have a 35 and a 77-mile route. Typically, the kind of equipment and clothing that you may wear is going to be different than if you went for a more casual 10-mile
So what
route.
did you start with? Just your shorts and a t-shirt?
Exactly.
And tennis shoes, right?
Yes.
And you just got some fresh air and went out there
Right.
and...
Exactly. And
Okay,
then
so see how easy that is?
yeah, it's and I have
Not
to,
overwhelming.
not at all. And I always say one of the great things about riding a bike is you can stop whenever you want. There's nothing to prevent you from. And I want to emphasize this is not a race; it's a ride.
And the good thing is that when you do it in a circle, then you get it's much better than
Well,
go
you can
straight
ride-
out and then straight back.
That's true.
I
That's true.
saw your route and stuff. It seems to be set up just beautiful, and it's set up where people can stop, get a drink of water,
Sure.
go to the restroom,
And in each of the routes, whether it's the 10, 35, or the 77, there are rest stops.
Oh,
So if you want to get something to drink, if you want to fuel yourself with whether it's fruit or energy bar or something like that, there's always those opportunities too.
and do you have to pay to be a part of the day? Is there an entry fee?
For everybody who participates, you register,
Okay.
and you can register online at active.com,
1 minute.
or you can go on to Ride for Mom website. There are various places on there where there's a link to the registration, and then you go through the active.com process, and the rates are they vary by each of the 3 routes. I believe that the most affordable deal in the county is the $15 rate for the 10-mile ride, where you
Goodness
get
gracious.
lunch, metal, SAG, which is support and gear.
Bobby, can we pick that up when we get back?
Absolutely.
All right. Hey, as a veteran myself and Erin supported the military family members, we always honor veterans business owners during the show. If you know a vet that could use some free advertising, message us their name, their number, and also you can call us at pound 250 and leave that information for us, and we'll get back to them. We're giving a shout out this week to Mike Coelho again from Airman Heating and Cooling, serving Stanislaus County and San Joaquin County people. Call 888-841-0702, and we'll be right back. All right, so when we get back, we'll pick up about the different rides.
Bob, how do I say your last name? 4s?
1s, 2s, 3s, 4s.
Nice. Sounds good.
Am I bloviating too much?
No, great.
I've never seen you so controlled.
I was thinking the same thing. I was like, wow, and he's not rabbit trailing or anything. He's just like on task.
We have to make Ed feel good.
Oh, gee.
Erin, you're bringing us back in.
Okay.
That's funny. Yeah.
How many more segments?
Erin, little Miss Claire, little baby Claire, 5 years
12
old.
more
She didn't
minutes this
finish
segment.
it. on her
And then the
princess
last
bike
one's 10 minutes.
with
Okay,
her
that's
training
all right.
wheels.
So this is the
She
first
tried
thing I
to.
can do.
Bring in some
And
light
then
bicycle
6
facts.
years old,
Did you know there's
6 years old,
47.5
no
million
training
bike riders
wheels.
in
She
the world?
finished it.
In the United States?
Last year, she got into a
Doesn't
bad
hurt.
crash. There's a
You
narrow
know it's-
spot,
the
and
bicycle's exploding.
people didn't realize. I don't even know if the group
Peloton's
saw
helping.
her. She's
What's
that
that?
little,
Peloton.
and they crashed into her. And I
Is there,
about
there's
tore
a
her
spin,
ear
another
off.
spin.
I kid you
thing,
not.
Soul
The,
Cycle is
the adult
real
was all
big
bloody
and
as
everything.
well.
What is Swift?
She got on and
CWI.
finished.
Okay, this next one we're gonna do 12 and a half.
Finished it. And so
Because the first one went a little short. This last one was 12 perfect. So this one do 12 and a half.
Get your serving size of real estate jerky on Power Talk 1360 KFIV.
Okay, we're back, and we're talking about Ride for Mom, a local event and program our guest Bob Forrest started in honor of his mom, Jinx. Bob, like you, I lost my mom to health issues way too soon, and I love that you've turned what for me was some anger and resentment that my mom came from an era where women ran after their kids, but that was it. Some women golfed, but they weren't proactive about their health because they were taking care of everybody else instead
Sure.
of themselves. And so what makes Ride for Mom so different from other activities? For me, I'd like to ask you, but for me, I feel like this is the first thing I can get involved in physically where I feel like I can do it. I'm kind of excited right now.
Well, that is music to my ears. In my case, in my family's case, cancer's ravaged our family. In fact, my brother right now is stage 4 cancer. He's 2 years younger than me.
Bobby, stay closer, Mike.
Okay. But it became more than just cancer. It became, one of my friends, Mike Cornell, said, well, what about diabetes? My mom has diabetes. Can it also be about that? Sure. And then as we learned more about the diseases affecting us, heart disease affects all of us. And so Ride For really means becoming better informed about, making better lifestyle choices. I saw a report recently that said 40% of cancers can be prevented or cured just in terms of if we eat better and if we have some exercise in our life. Mom, in my case it's my mom, but mom is anyone you know who's close to you who is or has been sick. Like I say, in my case it's my mom. But I'm very glad to hear you say that because that was the general idea of doing this event in the first place, was to have something, again, fun, not competitive, something that will in some way encourage all of us to consider lifestyle choices to help us be better physically and mentally. So, yes, you're our target customer.
See,
Target
I am
registered.
important, Ed.
Never said you weren't.
No, but you know what? It sounds so fun. I feel like I want to put a basket on the front of my little mountain bike that someone just gave me and go for a little ride.
I mean, a
you should.
10-mile ride's is really easy to do. It sounds a lot, but it's
Right.
not.
And Ed's absolutely right. You will be amazed that when you ride the 10 miles, you'll say, oh, I can do that. In fact, I think I can go further.
Really?
And we've had people say, well, next year I'm going to do the 35 because that was way too easy for me. And for some people, it's not easy. But the idea is that you're out there. It's a fun day. And you're with your friends. You're with your family. You meet new friends. You meet new family. And then the event is beginning to reach, we're not there yet, of what I ultimately want the event to be, which is not just the ride, but also the camaraderie, having an excellent lunch. The lunch is prepared by Greens on 10th Street and by
Love that.
Conchetta. So it's great food, but we're moving towards, and I guess this is a good time to say this, we're moving towards really trying to ramp up what I've always wanted, and which has been not as strong as I wanted, having a lifestyle component of that. Next year, I'm knocking on wood, the event's not going to be staged out of Johansen. We are hoping that it'll be staged out of downtown, same day, the day before Mother's Day, in conjunction with the city's Family Bicycle Festival, which is just more family bicycle-oriented activities, and in conjunction with the city. And there is some possibility that there may also be, for the hardcore racer-oriented people, there is a criterium downtown, which is a circuit that runs around about 6 blocks. That's all potentially coming attractions. But there is a lot of appeal to me personally about joining forces with the city to have it staged downtown, because they have a lot of events with their function, the Family Bicycle Festival, that we haven't had that we would like. They have some bike demonstrations, for instance, with the small bikes. With they have various booths that we will then help them supplement with to create this environment where, not that it's thrusted upon everyone, but the idea being that to help us try to think about what it is that we're eating throughout the days and years, what about our health, and doing it in a fun way.
Well, my daughter was telling me that, Mom, the best way to get rid of toxins in your body is to breathe. And so what better way to be outside in the fresh air with people that you like,
Sure,
and just get some fresh air and a good deep breath,
That's right. And you burn calories, and then it's okay to eat after you have your bike ride.
Well, but you know what? This brings me back to Leave It to Beaver. I want to put a challenge out to all the grandmas and grandpas out there. They could come do this, and this is a friendly venue for you, right?
Yes, it is, absolutely.
Oh my goodness, I'm pretty excited about
So
this.
the route this year on the 10-mile ride is what it's been the last 7 years, and it leaves Johansen. It goes north to the Dry Creek Trail. It's really an out and back, and the trail is marked, and a lot of people have hiked in there. Some people play frisbee golf. A lot of people go down there for picnics. There's a rest stop at the end of the route before you turn around. And it's a fairly modest in terms of its difficulty level. There's one little hill at the end, but other than that, it's very fun. And then, go ahead.
Well, I wanted to ask you, we have such busy lives, and we're stuck inside in the computer and dealing with all this stuff. And you get outside into our community, and that's the biggest thing for us, is to let people know their community. And this is a great way to do it, where you're just out. If you're driving by the park, you're going to see somebody you know or make friends with somebody new, right?
That's right.
And it has nothing to do with business.
And you will
kind of like what you talked about earlier.
You will be amazed that people participate in the event. You had no idea rode bikes. Like, I didn't know you ride bikes, or I didn't know you rode bikes, and so that's kind of fun too. You'll see colleagues, you'll see friends, you'll see neighbors, and so that's kind of fun. That you connect up. You see people where you don't expect to see them.
Well,
I want to go back to the rides. Let's get that out so people know what the rides are. So you have a 10-mile ride?
You bet. And
then what's the next one?
So there's a 35-mile route, which goes east of Johansen High School through Empire out Crows Road to Ellenwood. It's essentially east of Johansen High School. It's largely a flat route. There's a few what we call rollers. There is a rest stop in the middle, and then there's a rest stop at the end. Ellenwood, I think, is a gorgeous stretch of riding territory. And then the 77-mile route travels the same route at the beginning as the 35-mile route, but it veers north to East Oakdale out Orange Blossom Road. There's a rest stop.
I hear that's the world's famous rest stop.
Well, there's a little bit of a rivalry among those who staff the rest stop. You're talking about the one at Knights Ferry or the one at Roberts Ferry?
I'm talking about Marcia Parcaut.
I will tell you, the Marcia Parcaut Roberts Ferry rest stop has become legendary within the halls of Right for Mom. It's a really good rest stop. They're very creative, they're very enthusiastic, and they have great food. You get to cross the river there under the covered bridge, and then we come back down Lake Road through Waterford, and then we really come back to the last rest stop on Ellenwood, which is the same rest stop that the 35-milers turn around, and it's a back. It's about it's 77 miles, and for those more serious riders, it has between 1,600 and 2,000 feet of climbing, which over that, as we know, over that kind of mileage is not very, very demanding. There's some nice hills out on Wilms Road and Crabtree Road, but scenic. You get to see cool areas of eastern Stanislaus County, and generally, not always, but generally it's fairly light traffic. There's a couple of fast spots that we have to be careful about. But
we have police. You have highway patrol out there helping in some of those spots, right?
Yeah, we have highway patrol, particularly in and out of Orange Blossom. The roads are marked with arrows, and every rider has a map.
And then there's SAG that's out there in case something happens
What's
to help
SAG?
you.
SAG is what's short for, it's SAG, which is short for support and gear.
Is there trucks and stuff that'll go drive it and help you out if something happens or take you back if your bike breaks? Last year, my bike broke on that ride.
Ed, I didn't know that.
Yeah. In the first mile. Yeah.
Wow.
Did you
sorry.
finish?
Can't when you're like, they couldn't fix it.
Very sorry about that.
Yeah, well,
you
I didn't get refunded either. So I'm just kidding.
You better talk to the founder.
Yeah.
So we should not fix our bikes and go there, break down. They fix it for us really well, and we go on the ride.
Well, it just
Did
depends.
I say that out loud?
Yeah, it just. I mean, there's mechanics there to work on it. It was an issue that they didn't have the parts for.
I'm
That was
sorry about
unusual. So
Ed has there's a lot of torque on the bikes that Ed rides. So I might have
it was a
something to
new
do.
bike.
He's usually riding in place, so this is
Yeah.
hard
Well, I
for
do a
him.
lot on the Peloton, so that's what she's giving me a hard time about.
Okay.
He's fallen off that before.
Yeah. Right in my wife's arms. So barbecue lunch.
Barbecue lunch. It's under tents that are set up.
But it's not really a barbecue lunch, right? It's like chicken. I mean, what is it?
It can be chicken, roast beef. It varies every year. In the last couple of years, we've actually made the lunches. They're made there, barbecue, but they're put in I guess you call it a box lunch.
Right,
And,
because of the new laws that has to
right.
come in effect with the county, so you don't touch the food.
That's
It's
exactly
a little,
right.
a little ridiculous, but
So we have the local radio club helps staff the event so that we're in constant radio contact with where the event is staged and throughout the routes. We have had nurses who staff tents in case we've been, knock on wood, fortunate we haven't had a lot of injuries. We've had just a few isolated events. I'm happy to report we haven't had to take advantage of the nurses' services. And we usually have booths that are set up that represent each of the beneficiaries and sometimes our sponsors. So
Are you going to be at each spot so that if you're on a 10-mile ride, we get to see you? If we're on a 35-mile ride, we get to see you? Are you riding?
Actually, I didn't ride the first year. I've ridden every year since, and I don't
and
know.
the staff really likes when he rides.
Yeah, because I'm
Erin, I'm sorry to interrupt, Bob. Erin, can you take us out for our break?
Sure. Thanks for listening to Real Estate Jerky, where tough meets tender in the real estate industry. And we'll be right back to talk more about Homes for Mom and Ride for Mom.
Love that. I love that song. I Ride My Bicycle. It's by Queen.
Huh?
Have you found yet?
will be in between.
Yeah.
See how fun this is?
All right, so we got
By the time I loosen
10
up,
minutes.
it'll be
10
over.
minutes
We
left.
should have brought the whiskey.
10 minutes. So, what do you want to go over that we haven't went over there, Bobby? About your
In the
ride?
secret.
Um, I would just emphasize that it's a
Oh.
ride
But I
and
got it.
race.
No, I just put, I changed that.
Covered.
And then
Sorry.
we go. No, don't be sorry. I'm just saying that. I'm just saying that.
Oops.
How about how people
It
get
would've fit, though.
registered? How to get
I
registered,
remember,
how to get
I must have
involved,
not saved it, 'cause I
volunteer.
remember what I wrote for this.
I'll ask you those
Yeah,
questions.
you know, you put it in and you didn't hit save.
That's when you
Yeah.
called me.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
It wasn't
that's-
help.
Yeah, yep. So I said I was halfway done with the script. I was
So
like,
register, volunteer.
that's why I don't
Really
usually
excited
answer my
about
phone when I'm
this.
writing.
You know what? I-
Because it is a giant
I
distraction.
went to this website and it was real easy, but I just didn't know people like me could do it.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
I thought you had to have on, stretch shorts and a khaki break. But that's not true, right?
Telling you.
I'm going to talk about the intimidation factor because that's a good point.
It is because you know what? You know how many people are out there like me that would
Baby Claire rides hers with her
No, I know,
princess
but she's
bike.
a little kid
But
that
she
doesn't.
freaking
She's
does it.
not
She
60
finished way
years
ahead of
old.
it. Lots of people.
It's intimidating to do.
She hauls
That's
ass.
especially with runners and all that
The
stuff.
kids were
It's
on their
all, like,
Stingrays.
years for, you know.
Registering, volunteering, date, time, requirements like a helmet, right? We require helmets, right?
Yep.
So those are things that I just noticed. Okay, that's final out intro. All right.
And also, if they wanted to call and find out about
We're
it,
10
do you
minutes
have
on
a
this.
number?
No, you don't have a phone number. You just go to the website, right?
Mhm.
So just rideformom.com
info@rideformom.com.
or just go to rideformom.com.
Right.
Or Facebook, message through Facebook is what you could do. All right.
Are we going to go over any of these things here?
You can if you want, if you have time.
Only if you want
We
me
have
to.
10 minutes.
So you just look at me and I'll do it.
If we need filler, we will.
Okay.
We're
I don't
Leaving the bull behind, it's Real Estate Jerky.
Hey, this is Ed Parcaut, mortgage advisor at Lending for Living, with my co-host Erin Custer, realtor at PMZ Real Estate. Glad to be back for our final segment of the show. And today's show was Ride for Mom with our guest, founder of Ride for Mom, Bob Fours. And he talks all the time when I do my intro and everything. Told you he couldn't get him quiet.
Ed, thanks for having me on. For those who are interested in registering, you can go on the website, rideformom.com, look for the registration link, and it'll take you directly to active.com, or you can go directly to active.com, type in Ride for Mom, and it will shoot you to where you need to be.
What are the fees for the ride, Bob?
So and I'm glad you asked that, just to clarify, because we've had a little bit of confusion. If you're a member of a club locally, FSB, TNT, or SCBC, the Stanislaus County Bicycle Club.
That would TNT be Team and Training?
That's exactly right. Team and Training. And
that would be Mel's place, right?
Yes,
Mel's?
it is.
Okay, because he was on a few weeks ago.
So we have, there's a special code, and you need to talk to your club leader about what that code is. If you're an employee of Doctors Medical Center, we have a special rate for them because they are our chief sponsor, and I want to give a shout out to Doctors Medical Center because they've been a very, very big supporter in recent years of Ride for Mom. So when you go in, I think the deal of the century is if you ride the 10-mile ride, whether you're 10 years old or 75 years old, that fee is $15. And for that, you receive everything from the actual bike ride to lunch to a finisher's medal to a water bottle to a T-shirt.
That finisher medals, they go for a lot of money down the road. People really want those finisher medals. I'm serious.
And with due respect, those finisher medals are cool.
Yes, they are.
And you've had a lot to do with making them cool, and I appreciate that.
Because, I mean, it's amazing. Most riders like, I don't want to, and then they get them. They're like, hey, that's pretty cool.
And it's true, because we've had people say, well, save the medal, and other people say, well, I'll take it, because for some reason they like them. And it's just a nice thing to do, because we wanted to do nice things with this event.
And especially for kids. I mean, because when they come in, they actually put it on the kid, and kids are like, oh, that's amazing, and I'll just hand it to them, put it on them.
Yeah, but you know what else too? Ed was in the military.
Hey, can you, Mike?
Ed was in the military, and when you receive a medal, it's very significant. So I think it's neat that you would bring that into that.
It had nothing to do with that, but
no. But I mean, it's just the acknowledgement and recognition that you did this ride. Yeah. The 10 miles, 15. There are rates for if you're under 24 or over 20 or 25 or above. For the 35-mile route, it's 40 and 55. And then if you're doing the 77-mile ride, it's if you're under 24, it's $55, and if you're 25 or older, it's $70. Those rates are all less if you're a member of one of those clubs I just mentioned.
And when did they go up?
Oh, no, they've already gone up.
Okay.
So that
is the rate today.
Yes, and if you want specific information, email info@rideformom.com, info@rideformom.com, and we'll get back to you. If you want to register through a paper registration, you'd rather write a check because you don't want to do it online, and we do have people that access a registration that way. We're happy to make that available as well. So,
is there a special deal for Real Estate Jerky listeners?
I think in Erin's case, the rate goes down. I think when I last checked, the rate for you, Ed, went up.
Oh, you're so funny.
I'm happy to pay the $15. I just want to do it.
Ed has gotten me more times than anybody will know in the last 7 years. If you're interested in volunteering, check the links. There's a place where you can sign up to volunteer. Same thing if you're interested in donating.
And that's on rideformom.com.
It's on rideformom.com. And and in addition to that, we have discounted hotel reservations through Spring Hill Estates, and there's a link for that as well. So if you have people coming from out of town and want to receive a little bit of a break on a hotel rate, we're grateful to Spring Hill Estates. You can also access that on the website. And new today, we have our 2019 jerseys for sale. There's a link that through Voler, Voler, where you can buy your jerseys online directly. And again, Marcia Herman of Marcia Herman Designs has hit the ball out of the park with her design, and you can see it on the front page of the rideformom.com website.
She's done an amazing job over the years. I mean, just an amazing job.
She, in many ways, has helped us look very good, I think, in my opinion. And but I want to change the subject just for a moment, because we were talking about this during the break, and that is, for some people who've never ridden, there's an intimidation factor because they see these people with these fancy bike outfits and fancy bikes. That's not what this event is about. You will see those people there, and some people will think I'm one of those people. This is not a race. This is a ride. It's meant to be fun, informal, and it doesn't matter what you wear. You're going to wear some kind of athletic gear because it's easier to ride a bike in shorts than it is other
jeans.
clothing. In jeans, right. But I don't want anybody to be turned away because they don't feel like they don't have the correct equipment or the correct clothing. Get that bike that's in the corner of your garage. It's collecting dust if you haven't ridden it, and bring it down. The bike mechanics will help you clean it up and get it operational, and you can go for a ride.
And don't forget your helmet.
Helmet's very important. There's just a few rules. One of the rules is you must wear a helmet. It's very important. I was riding with one of my best friends, Mark, several years ago. He wasn't going more than 3 or 4 miles an hour, hit a pothole, and fell to the ground and hit his head on the ground, cracked his helmet. So the helmets, I can't tell you how important wearing a helmet is. The other main rules, we have to follow the rules of the road. We are no different than cars on the road. And so we must follow the laws and follow the California Vehicle Code just as if we were driving a car or pickup truck.
So that means stop at stop signs.
Stop at stop signs and
stay over to the right. Don't get groups all the way across the road.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Gosh, when I was a kid, we had to walk our bike across the street. Do you still have to do that?
Crosswalk, you're supposed to.
You're supposed to, but it really doesn't happen. But it's use your common sense. But you got if this stoplight's red, you got to stop. If there's a stop sign, you got to stop. And the rolling stops are really not appreciated by the driving public. And when our group will generally always stop, particularly if we're at an intersection where there's cars and where there's traffic. So very important to follow the rules of the road.
So we got about 2 minutes left for you there, Erin, to ask some questions. Because I see you over there writing down. You want to ask?
No, I just have some stats here that were put together for us. It says estimated 47.5 million bike riders are in the U.S.
Right, cycling is exploding.
Yes,
it is, because part of it is it's kind of easy,
right,
and it's fun. And as I said earlier, you can stop whenever you want, and it's good for you.
I just wish they get more bike lanes in Modesto, or what?
And they're
getting there.
They're getting there,
yeah.
And I got to give the city credit.
They say that the average cyclist in the U.S. is 37.3 years old, and you started when you were 40, so that sounds about right.
Because that's the only time you can afford those really expensive bikes.
Oh no!
Well, you don't have to buy a really expensive bike. You can actually buy very good bikes at a very affordable rate. It's interesting. The cycling is behind Europe in terms of a sport that the public's engaged in. I think you would find that age less in Europe.
They probably use steel bikes like I did
I
forever.
have a steel bike too.
Yeah, steel is real.
They say that the oldest cyclist just retired at 106, and he was from France. So what you just said is
that's
correct.
interesting.
Well,
Yeah.
like the first if you look at the original Tour de France, those original guys would stop and drink a beer and then get
Smoke.
back on their bikes and go. Yeah.
Right.
Are you modeling your bike rides after any of the largest groups of bike riders in America, or how are you getting your?
You mean in terms of
How you design your whole program?
You mean the event or
The event.
the routes?
Yeah.
The event is really a combination of our volunteers maximizing our strengths, trying to improve on our weaknesses, and it's really a combination of all of our collective experiences.
Wrap it up. I gotta.
Hey, I really appreciate this opportunity to talk about Ride for Mom. It means a great deal to me. It means a great deal to our family, to my family, and particularly to our, I want to give a shout out to our committee, our volunteers who make this happen. Our volunteers have been fantastic over the years. There's been hundreds of them.
Yes, they have. And sorry, we're here at the end of our show. We always want to keep our promise, that Real Estate Jerky gives you something to chew on. This time it was really fun with this great bicycle ride for Mom that Bob put together. My fault for my hearing. Next week's show is going to be one of our highlights of the year. We're talking about getting ready to buy a home because the spring season is supposed to be extremely busy. So we're talking about things to improve your FICO score, your budgeting. So we have a team member, teacher from financial guru Dave Ramsey's Financial Peace University joining us, Tyra Bryant, a young, vibrant, and on it. I think I'm out of time. All right, so we'll talk to you guys next week. And if you want to get a hold of us through our podcast, you can listen to us there. You can contact us 24/7 at pound 250 from your cell, and we'll talk to you next week. Say goodbye.
Goodbye. Thanks, Ed. And thanks, Bob.
Thanks, Ed.